So I got a bit of an unpopular opinion because I think Ridley Scott's Alien from 1979 is just a little bit of a better film compared to James Cameron's Aliens. Not to say that Aliens is bad, mind you, because if you wanted a more suspenseful and, by extension, a more entertaining experience, then Aliens, with its high octane, intense action, is certainly the film for you. Aliens is also a gem in the notoriously hard to pull off action horror genre, so that alone makes that film incredibly memorable. So, what does Alien do better than Aliens? Well, apart from my own preference towards horror films over action movies, I just think Alien shines because of how odd the movie really is, both in its conception and in its scares. To quote screenwriter Dan O'Bannon, I didn't steal Alien from anybody, I stole it from everybody. Some aspects from movies like The Thing from Another World, Forbidden Planet, Planet of the Vampires, and more can all be seen in Alien. And to pitch the film, O'Bannon described it as Jaws, but in space. As for the genre of the film, well, it's a weird mix-up. Sure, it's a horror film through and through, but it seems to be an array of many subgenres like creature feature, slasher movie, sci-fi space exploration, and some body horror for good measure. I'd even argue a little bit of gothic horror can be seen, especially on the mysterious planet. Think of Bava's Black Sunday. With that in mind, it's so hard to imagine that this movie is actually a total mashup because of how well the film has built an identity of its own. I guess that's a testament to the idea that all the best artists steal. Admittedly, this scare tactic isn't really unorthodox, but I just want to take some time to emphasize how terrifying the alien creature is. From the very moment of its conception, the creature is already killing via its chestburster form, and probably grows up into its significantly more dangerous adult form, some childhood. In this form, the alien has a ridiculous set of evolutionary defense, or, let's be real, offense mechanisms, such as its razor-sharp claws, spiked tail, and its second set of jaws within its would-be tongue. It's also hard to forget the corrosive acid the creature has for blood, making it incredibly difficult to figure out how to kill it without tearing a hole in the hull of the ship. Even the creature's design is terrifyingly specific. The creature, with its uncomfortable biomechanical appearance, courtesy of H.R. Giger, really begs the question, in what world is it natural for a creature to develop camouflage for industrial settings? Of all places. And if you went out of your way and saw the director's cut of the film, which I highly recommend you check out if you haven't, then you'll recall one scene towards the end where Dallas and Brett are seen slathered in degradative enzymes and are in the process of being turned into facehugger eggs. Now just think back to the beginning of the film where the crew explore the derelict ship. The implication is frightening. Personally, this is another reason why I prefer Alien over Aliens. With aliens turning this menace into nothing more than a worker bee with a hive mentality, the creature just ends up much more manageable. After all, if you kill the queen, then you pretty much have finished them completely. So it's really a shame that this scene got cut, even if it's still technically a part of the canon, which, respectfully, I don't give a shit for.
You know your head looks like a dildo.
Despite being a joke, this is actually alluding to a very big theme that this film utilizes, the fear of violation. While no sexual assault literally occurs in the film, images invoking it are oddly everywhere. Take, for instance, Johnny Cage's earlier insightful remark. The shape of the creature's head is indeed phallic, and it's even more so when the creature is in its limbless infant form, making the entire body phallic. Also, does it help that as a baby, the creature is notably more flesh-colored. Even the creature's lethal tongue is undeniably sexual. I mean, just check out this scene. But let's take a step back and look at H.R. Giger's Necronom, a series of paintings that led him to become in charge of the more alien designs of the film. Here, we can see what basically is the final design of the alien, but with one notable change, a large phallus growing from the groin. This one is also very similar to what we see in the film, but much more human and also looks like two engaging in intercourse. And in here, we can see an even more blunt representation of the erotic undertones of the human tongue. Now, back to the film, let's check out the facehugger. Screenwriter Ron Shusett came up with the idea that instead of the alien simply sneaking on board, the alien would, and I quote, screw one of the crew members and plant its seed. And that's what we basically get with the facehugger, who impregnates a host via forced oral sodomy. And notice that the one who is unwillingly impregnated is actually a male rather than a female. This shows that the fear of violation is no longer relegated to women, as here, men are now equally subject to it. Then comes the character of Ash, who, unbeknownst to the crew, is the android of the Nostromo. As luck would have it, Ash is implied to have actually been protecting the alien all along, potentially having even known what the facehugger had done to Kane, and eventually Ripley finds out about his intentions, causing Ash to turn hostile. Ash tries to kill Ripley by shoving a rolled up magazine, a pornographic one no less, down her throat. Seems illogical, but certainly in line with this theme. It's also theorized by others that this oddly sexual act could imply Ash's potentially emerging humanity. And during some altercations, it's revealed that his blood, or the robotic equivalent of it, is a viscous white substance, resembling a certain male bodily fluid. These distinctly masculine aspects paint his aggression as one that is fueled by male sexual treachery, the kind that, unfortunately, many people out there are all too familiar with. Ever since our discovery of it, outer space has become an object of great fascination for pretty much all of us. I mean, the thought of endless discovery and a boundless void is what drives many of our dreams and studies. But since our own understanding of space could still be in its infancy, many of us have resorted to exploring it in an artistic sense. So, of course, this idea has found a long-time home on the silver screen. It can be seen in Star Trek, where James T. Kirk and his crew on board the USS Enterprise boldly go where no man has gone before, and seek out discoveries in the final frontier. In 2001: A Space Odyssey, the wonders of space are emphasized through impressive special effects, breathtaking cinematography, and grand orchestral music. And in Star Wars, Luke Skywalker and the Rebels hop from planet to planet in a heroic effort to stop the evil clutches of the Galactic Empire from reaching the entire galaxy. Clearly, these movies and many, many others are dazzled by the idea of space travel. I mean, just think of all the places one could see and all the things one could learn. Now, circling back to Alien, well, its depiction of it could not be any more odd compared to what has been previously established. Alien takes something as mesmerizing as space travel and casts it under the oppressively cynical shadow that is corporate pessimism. I've heard online that the crew aboard the Nostromo seem just like blue-collar truckers, which makes sense considering their mission. Rather than navigating through space for adventure and discovery, they're there to just haul mineral ores, basically a boring-ass 9 to 5. However, they do actually make a discovery, but instead of knowledge and wonder, they just get butchered. It doesn't stop there. The first conversation the crewmates have after waking up is regarding the notably lower pay that Brett and Parker get. Pay is also the main concern when the crew come across the strange transmission, as the company requires the crew to investigate, lest they want their pay terminated. As for the look of the film, thanks to concept artists Ron Cobb and Chris Voss, the design of the Nostromo from the outside looks pretty much like an oil rig, and certain rooms inside it echo that design all the same. Compare that to Robert McCall's sleek designs for 2001. Even the earlier mentioned biomechanical design of the eponymous alien showcases an unnatural fusion between flesh and artifice, which seems to parallel our dependence on destructive machinery. And let's again look at Ash. Similar to the HAL 9000, his objective does not ensure the safety of the crew, as he is willing to get them all killed so that this new life form can be taken back to base and be studied, hopefully to turn a profit. And since he is doing this all under the direction of the corporation the whole crew works for, his motivations are merely an extension of theirs. This fact is made even worse considering the crew had no idea that Ash was an android. Now, this film came out in the 70s, which in the West was a period rife with post-Vietnam angst, economic turmoil, rising unemployment, and racial inequality, so all these anti-authority and anti-corporation themes in the film make sense as a reflection of the time. O'Bannon will actually return to this theme in his directorial debut, Return of the Living Dead, as it features the anti-authority punks fighting a zombie virus created by the untrustworthy US government. This melange of ideas adds so much flavor to what could have been another simple story of a killer alien life form. Something we've seen time and time again. However, the addition of all these ideas could have easily turned the film into a total mess. But it didn't. In fact, it was able to bring these ideas to life so well and mesh them together so effortlessly to the point where you never find the need to question it. Not only that, but it creates for one of the most unique horror experiences to come out of a major film studio.